we have German and UK defense cooperation, companies working together, developing, for example, deep precision strike capabilities, working on the joint procurement development of drones, and also tackling space together.
So Keir Starmer has been a Prime Minister who has felt perhaps more at home on the world stage than he has actually at home. And in an outgoing interview, he cautioned his successor on Andy Burnham's domestic focus, saying he doesn't think you can separate out the job. The record abroad, with the help of Nick Thomas-Symonds, his EU point man, has resulted in renewed relations, with Starmer being the first serving British Prime Minister to be awarded the Légion d'honneur, France's top award, and to mark his commitment to Europe, Ukraine and other bilateral relationships. Beyond France, he has freshened up relations with Germany last year, which resulted in the Kensington Treaty, renewing friendship and bilateral cooperation on defence issues, foreign affairs and technology. Well, that treaty is now celebrating its first anniversary, its first birthday, and joining me is the German ambassador to the United Kingdom, Susanne Baumann, in an exclusive interview. Hello to you.
Hello, good morning.
Now, I suppose a lot of people haven't necessarily heard of the Kensington Treaty. How have relations between Germany and the UK improved over the past year?
So the relationship between the UK and Germany are really excellent. And having a treaty between our two countries, between our two governments in place, gives a very sound foundation to this relationship, and gives to all of us some momentum to implement this treaty in its various fields.
And in practical terms, what's actually happened? What's developed?
So we are very much concentrating on security cooperation, on defense cooperation, and you have just mentioned Ukraine. So our joint support for Ukraine is a huge priority for us. The defense of Europe is a huge priority for us. So we have German and UK defense cooperation, companies working together, developing, for example, deep precision strike capabilities, working on the joint procurement development of drones, and also tackling space together.
Yet the UK has been excluded or hasn't been able to participate in the EU Defence Fund fully, which is something that Germany at least regrets. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, because Germany is convinced that we can only have a secure and a strong Europe with the UK cooperating with Europe. And therefore, I am more than happy that just some couple of days ago, we were able to agree that British defence companies can participate in the 90 billion loan which the European Commission provides for Ukraine.
But the central fund, the French have blocked us. So that's really what's happened.
I think the Commission has to take the opinion of all European member states on board, and that's not always an easy task for them.
I mean, do you think that that's now a dead issue?
We should look forward and look for new opportunities like the Ukrainian loan.
But it still stands, doesn't it, that having taken the decision to leave the European Union, there has to be a limit to how close the UK can now get to the European Union bloc.
In the view of Berlin, the European Union should work as closely with the UK as the UK government wishes to do. For us, it's very clear we are stronger when we cooperate with the UK.
And what is your assessment? What are you reporting back on the impact of Brexit on this country? Do you believe it has been damaging?
When you look to the economic figures which the government has provided in connection with the budget discussion last year in November, I think it's a case in itself that the Brexit did some damage. On the relationship with Germany, when I look to mobility questions, of course it's more difficult to have mobility between our two countries. Also in this regard, it was not advantageous, but came with a lot of disadvantages.
I mean, the new European entry system is causing big problems, isn't it? The entry system at airports.
Yes, I think each and every British tourist traveling now to the coasts of Spain, Italy or Germany has to overcome these border issues.
And do you think it should be lifted until it can be streamlined properly?
It's up to the Commission to lift it, but to work to facilitate mobility questions in both directions is of utmost importance.
I hear a lot of people saying now that there are a lot of similarities between the UK and Germany in terms of the political situation. You have a populist right-wing party, Alternative für Deutschland, which is generating a lot of votes and destabilising the old parties of red and blue in the centre. You arguably have problems with your infrastructure. You have high energy costs. So, I mean, do you think we're both in the same boat?
Yeah, when I arrived here in the UK nearly 1 year ago, in September last year, I realized how many similarities, how many similar challenges our countries and governments have to face. And you have mentioned a couple of them. Populism is something we see in all Western democracies on the rise. I'm convinced when governments do deliver and do the best for the voters and are good on the communication side, populism can be defeated. We have the problems with low economic growth. Also here, when I look to Germany, the government has just agreed on a big reform package a couple of days ago, which will now be implemented at high speed. So when governments can agree on reforms, implement them, I'm pretty sure that also the economy can recover.
I mean, you're moving a lot of your pension funds into investment in the economy, something that certainly Labour have talked about. Would you advise that?
The German government has just agreed to introduce a third pillar, which is very new for our pension system, so that pension funds can invest in the market. I'm pretty sure this will have good effects on our economy, and it will also provide some security for the voters. So I'm pretty sure that's a good step forward.
What about this question of immigration, which clearly is one of the main drivers for support for the populist right? Isn't it the case now that Germany, even though it's in Schengen, like the UK, needs to control its own borders?
Immigration is a big issue in Germany, as it is here in the UK, as it is everywhere in Europe. So on a European level, we have just agreed on a renewal of our asylum system, which will have some positive effects on a European level, which is very important. And when you look to the numbers here in the UK, they are getting down.
Now, we've had 7 prime ministers in just over a decade. What are you reporting back to Berlin on political stability in this country, or shall I say instability?
So we wish the new prime minister and the new government all the best, and we are really looking forward to continue the very close cooperation with him and his team as we had with the Prime Minister Starmer.
Have you met Andy Burnham? What do you make of him?
I met him as mayor of Greater Manchester, because the Greater Manchester region has very strong ties to one region in Germany, the so-called Ruhrgebiet. And in this capacity, I met him a couple of times. Now,
we're talking about the similar problems we're facing, but Germany has a great deal more devolution in terms of its lender structure than we have in our centralised structure. But it would appear perhaps it's not the answer.
So, looking at our federal system in Germany, of course, it's deeply rooted in our history, where the UK, the US, France wanted to have a balance of power in the German system. So we are very strong on federalism. In my private opinion, we should look, or the UK government should look very carefully which areas they want to see to be in the competence of the regions, and not to do overcomplicated things when it comes to devolution. But in general, to strengthen the role of regions, of big cities, is a good one.
Now, I was talking about our change of Prime Minister. I was astonished recently talking to a senior journalist from one of your leading media organisations, saying that he thought it was highly possible that Friedrich Merz, the current Chancellor, could actually be unseated this autumn if the Länder elections don't go his way.
As I've said, the German government, which is a coalition government with the Social Democratic Party and the Christian Democratic Party, they have just agreed on a big and important reform program before going into the summer break. This reform package will produce some positive results to the best of the voters, and therefore I see that the German government is undertaking the right steps.
Now, it's being said here, I don't know whether it's true, that as a result of Brexit, that the European Union is not so solid in supporting the UK over the Falkland Islands. Who's Germany supporting in the World Cup tonight?
I knew who we supported yesterday evening, and I can assure you that the whole embassy cheered for the three lions, especially after Germany had to leave the tournament at the very early stage.
Well, against the French.
Being a German ambassador to the UK, there was no question whom we do support.
And so Spain, Argentina?
I think the best team should win.
Even though Spain's a member of the EU, isn't there some loyalty there?
I think sports has another dimension to cover, so I wish the best team should win.
I suppose that's another parallel, isn't it, that England and Germany not doing too well on the football field?
I admire English football.
OK, very diplomatic. Thank you very much indeed. That was Susanne Baumann, the German ambassador to the United Kingdom.